VBOUT integrates nicely with popular CRMs like Salesforce, HubSpot, Insightly, and Zoho. We are also planning to expand to more and more popular CRMs, so stay on the lookout. Now, through Zapier, we can integrate to a lot more mainstream CRMs if you don't find them as native connectors. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can connect your Salesforce and how the sync process functions within the VBOUT platform. Now, this works pretty much the same between Salesforce, HubSpot, and the others. Salesforce tends to handle a little bit more options and a little more complexity to it, so I'll just cover that, and the rest should be as simple as that. Now, to access Salesforce Connector, you have to have it installed on your account. If you don't have it, please reach out to us or go to your add-on section and install it from there. Then from the contact section, you're going to see Salesforce Connector. I'm going to go ahead and create my first sync. I can give it a title and can say this is test sync, or let's say master sync. Let's call it that. I'm going to choose if I'm bringing the data from VBOUT to Salesforce, or if I'm getting the Salesforce to VBOUT information. Okay. However you choose that to be, you have to obviously have some matching information. I'm going to explain what that means in a second. Now, on the automation side of things, I will, or the sync type, I can choose if I want it to be automation. That means if somebody does A, B, C, C can be going to the sync. I can do it a one-time sync process, so it executes, brings all the data, and it stops. I can do it hourly, daily, and any frequency that you like. If you want to do it based on one action or an action basis, keep it on automation. Okay. The second option here is what do you want to do if the record exists? I can update that. And also, obviously, you have to connect an account. So click on Add Salesforce Account. It opens up this panel. And you're going to get quite familiar with it because we have to authenticate other channels as well. Connect to Salesforce. And now my account is connected. From the drop down, just choose that. Scroll down a little bit. And you're going to see right here, I have the list that I need to sync. So this is pulling the VBOUT lists. Okay, we haven't gotten to Salesforce yet. I'm going to choose my Expo 2020 or my master list. Then I'm going to say, where should I send this to? Do I send it to leads, opportunities, accounts, or contacts on Salesforce? So this is something you'd have to decide. I can attach it to campaign. If you have that campaign feature on Salesforce, you can do it from here. You can create new campaigns as well. And if you're attaching it to a campaign, you have to choose which campaign that would be. Okay. Now I'll keep it as no attachment to campaign. There is an option here that says sync activities of the leads from VBOUT to Salesforce into the notes section on Salesforce. Now, because VBOUT has hundreds of different things that we track, we are going to add that information or the new activities only to a Salesforce note. Okay. So if I add 5 today and tomorrow this runs again, if they are the same 5, nothing will be added. Otherwise, we're going to add an additional whatever came through as new activity. Now this goes to the mapping process. Very simple. On the left, you have all the VBOUT fields and data. And on the right side, I have all the Salesforce fields and data. If I want to skip anything, for example, if I don't want the VBOUT IDs to be sent, I don't have to. The emails always, I can say send it to an email. And note, every synchronization with Salesforce for some reason requires some odd field. In this case, the last name is required. These are all API requirements that we are passing through here. So contact phone, maybe I just look up phone, and you have to type. I mean, my suggestion is to type instead of scrolling down through dozens of options. Profile URL on VBOUT. If you like to send that to your Salesforce, maybe you can create one of those on your Salesforce account and map that over there. Okay. I'm going to keep it empty for now, but it serves really well if you have your sales team on Salesforce. They could literally click on the VBOUT profile to unlock or view the whole profile activity. Okay. IP, location, and all that stuff. First name and last name, let's map that for sure. First name and last name. So I think the idea here is to make sure that you have those corresponding fields created on Salesforce so you can match the data to some extent. And the data can be sent from our side to Salesforce. Now note another important thing. If you have drop downs, select buttons, radio buttons, and so on Salesforce, make sure you're matching the type of data from VBOUT to Salesforce. I often see people create drop downs on VBOUT that have no resemblance to the ones they created on Salesforce, and that could trigger some problems. Now, if you are mimicking the data, make sure even the values of the drop downs and such are the same. And add. That's it. I added a bucket. Now we do support adding multiple buckets within the same sink, but in this particular example, I'll keep it as one. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and save. Now note something important. The type of this connector is an automation. So what that means, it's not going to execute on its own unless something happens to trigger it. So there is one more step involved. If you had set it up to run once or hourly, obviously this will be based on when you saved it, and you'll have ability to view reports or download them if you'd like. Okay. Now to make this work 100%, I'm going to go to my automation. I'm just going to build something very simple. I'm going to rename it to say Salesforce Sync. Oops. And the naming is really critical. I've often seen people name things where they will never know what this means. Salesforce Sync, this is for a demo. So what I'm doing here, and I'll cover this full automation in another video, but I'm choosing that the moment someone signs up to my Expo form, I want to send them a welcome email, and at the same time I can also do sync to third party. So on my actions, sync to third party, and I can do this. Okay, very important. Let me remove the other stuff here. Now I have to double click on here, choose third party. I have two tabs, and this is an option that's a little bit hidden, but it's quite necessary. Now what I do is I do generated automations, and now I'm going to see my sync right here. That's it. You can customize fields you want to send over. Now this might not be necessary, but it certainly helps to choose the kind of activity you'd like to parse back to Salesforce. Okay. Some people are selective in what type of data they want to send, so this helps clear it out. And that's all that you need to do to create a sync and include it inside automation. Again, if you had set it up to run hourly, this step is not necessary. However, you're going to take a batch upload between VBOUT and send that information over to Salesforce. The last note I want to bring your attention to is that the moment a sync is made between VBOUT and Salesforce, or Salesforce to VBOUT, the IDs are going to map, because Salesforce treats a record through an ID, not an email, as a unique. So you can have the same email hundreds of times with as a different record. But in VBOUT, one email is one record, and it's unique. But we do map the IDs to some extent, and we try to prevent duplicates. If you have any issues with the sync, please reach out to us, and we'll help you with the setup.